So I did a thing. It's totally time. Okay, so yesterday I cleaned up fall, and it's kind of funny because I love my fall pumpkins so much. I could leave them up for months. And so I give myself 8 weeks for fall decorations, 8 weeks for Christmas, because after Christmas is over, having them up longer just doesn't feel the same. And I really want to enjoy Christmas every year, so I always decorate early. When I did the fall mantle video, I said I decorate for Christmas early, and so here we are, already time for me to decorate. It's like the 4th of November, I think. Pretty funny, but I cleaned up all the pumpkins. And I got the tree up, got that corner cleaned out, vacuumed, and then just like the fall mantle, you don't have to spend a ton of money. Most of the stuff that I have on my Christmas mantle, I found on clearance or at sales, like garage sales or estate sales I had for the Christmas, and I found a lot of good stuff. And actually last year, for some reason, Michael's Craft they didn't get a bunch of stuff in. So here comes a couple months later, I think it was February maybe, and they finally got this huge shipment in, and someone had mentioned it online, so I ran over there, and they actually had exactly what I was looking for. So I got a bunch of the stems for like $1.50 each, and I think they would have been like $6 to $10 each. So let me just show you what I have and what I'm going to start with. We'll see if you can see anything. This room is really dark. I've mentioned it before, but I think that these are the only ones I paid full price for at Hobby Lobby. Not full price because they have their sale. So I have these really thin picks. I have these, which I think are so pretty. I think this is juniper, and it has like fake berries. So I have a couple of those. Oh, these are even different than those. So look at those. And then I have a couple of these ones. And then I have the ones with these. So these are kind of these ones are good because they are more bulky. And these ones I got on clearance for like $1 or something. So if you keep your eyes peeled, you'll find what you want. And it's just a really good filler. And then I have my pip beads, which I really love. And then some berries and pine cones. I have more pine cones on the fireplace over here, which I usually add into it. And then here's my tree up close. I love my berries, and that's all I've done so far. Then I have my pine cones, my giant pine cones, and then the mantle. So I cleaned the mantle, and I left the lights on because I usually leave the lights on because I need all the lights, and I'm going to separate the light strand so that it's wide. I don't want it to necessarily be seen. I don't want the light strand to be seen, but I want the lights to highlight whatever I put on top of it. So we'll set the camera up and get going on that. Okay, I'm always trying to fit this thing. This mantle's huge. I talked about this in the last video, but we built this mantle. It's 8 foot long, and it's really deep, probably 10 or 11 inches deep. It's really great. But I can never fit the whole thing in the camera, and if I put the camera further back, the light on the ceiling gets in the way, so it's super tricky. So we'll just do what we can do, and you'll see what you can see. It always cuts off like the last little bit. There's probably 5 or 6 inches of the mantle you can't see, so I'm so sorry. But hold on, let me fix that a little bit more. Okay. And I can't remember what I do in the past if I put up what I put up first. So we'll just mess with it and see what happens. I think I put this up first usually, and then I fill it in around it. So I just bought this at the craft store a million years ago. I've had it forever. I add stuff to it every year. So, and it looks like I've added a strand of lights, an extra strand of lights to it at one point, and it's still on there. I'm gonna stick this right in the middle. I don't know what's up or down. Oh my gosh. I just realized I forgot to take the tags off of all these sticks. Luckily, it's thin paper. Sometimes you have to cut them, but I can just rip them off. Ta-da! Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the biggest, bulkiest thing in first as filler. And because this mantle is so big, most things that you buy are going to only be 6 foot long, and this is 8 foot long. So no matter what I buy or use, I either have to buy 2 of these or 2 or extra filler for the edges. So and what I normally do on these is you just want to make them big. So like if it's flat, just kind of bend the pieces up so that they're bigger and just start shoving. And whatever I do on one side, I do exactly the same on the other side, so it's symmetrical. Not everybody likes things symmetrical. I totally do when it comes to my mantle because I sit and stare at it so much. Some people don't decorate symmetrical and they can totally pull it off, but with the decorations I have, I totally do symmetrical. Just like with the pumpkins, I put the exact same thing in the same order on each side so that it is balanced for me. Okay, next I'm going to do these ones. These are super bulky and they've got the big pine cones on them. So I think I'm going to shove those ones in. And these ones look more real than any of them. They're plastic, they're made with a mold, but they look real. So I kind of like these to go in on top of some of the other stuff so that you can see them more. So these ones I usually put kind of front. I want to say front and center, but they're not quite. And this one's going to take a lot more messing with because it's got all the little wires that I need to bend exactly where I want. So that's going to take me more time later on, and I'll probably mess with it a few times, but that's just how it goes. Okay. Now I'm gonna put on the humongous pine cones. I don't know where these are from, but all I know is when I saw them, I had to have them. And I put them on my mantle, so I stick one on one side. There's kind of a spot usually right in here. Oh no, don't fall. I can just imagine this falling on somebody's head. That would not be my favorite day, ever. Oh. There might not be a good way to do this, even though I do it every year. There we go. And I still have these little cuties, so I will stick these these in, and this is so different than working with the leaves because it doesn't fill as much as fast as the pumpkins and the leaves do, like on the last video. So I'll just start sticking these in. Whoops, it's falling apart on me. Oh no. And you can see it's kind of poking out a little bit far right here. I kind of want to fix that only because we do sit here a little bit in front of the fire. And I also have to hang my stockings up, so. And I do have something that goes right in the center here, but I have to dig it out of my Christmas box. I haven't done that yet, so let me grab some more stuff. I'll be right back. Okay, I got these in an estate sale, and I thought they were the cutest thing ever. So now I put those on the mantle, but everybody loves them, so we keep using them. I put these guys in the middle. And I couldn't find stockings how I wanted them one year, so I just made them myself. I think I was pregnant with my last baby. I remember sitting on the floor making Christmas stockings, and we didn't know if we were having a girl or a boy yet, and I had guessed that it was a girl, and we had a name picked out, and I picked the letter. I picked the first letter of the name we were going to pick because we were so sure it was a girl, and we went to the hospital and found out we were having a boy. And I was like, dang it, now we have to find a new name, but that's my little Tommy Tornado that we had. And he's the best. I can't imagine having another girl, really. But these are our stockings. Here's the boy ones. They just have a letter, and they are corduroy. And then the girl ones, there's 2 girls in the family, and we did the ribbon with the letters, so I'll put those up in order. Okay. And I forgot to put up a few more things, so let's do the pip berries. Well, I'm going to do more pine cones first and then pip berries. I have some regular berries too. It just adds a little bit more color because it's just mostly green and brown, and so I love adding extra red to it, just so that there's more color. And these pip berries are my favorite. They look like they're covered in sugar and they're red and green. And this strand is really long, like insanely long. And I've bent it, like I've folded it in half before, but I think this year I might actually cut it, even though it comes apart in certain spots. So I'm gonna unroll the whole thing, which seems crazy. Actually, it does have a bunch of spots. I can just unwind it to make it shorter. That'll be good. because it's really, really long. I go back and forth probably 4 times, I think, on this mantle with this. I think this is maybe meant to go somewhere big, like a whole staircase or across the room or something, or around a tree probably. That's my guess, which would actually be really cute. I've just never done it because it's kind of small. I feel like it would be just hidden inside your tree. I'm going to undo it right here. Almost looks like Christmas lights, like a little bit of Christmas lights that are on there. That's funny. But I think that's it for the mantle. Let me show you. Okay, so as you can see, I'm in different clothes and my tree is already decorated. So last week when I was recording the mantle video, my tripod was broken. The very first day that I recorded, I didn't realize that my camera was broken too. So the first clip I ever did taking down the pumpkins was really shaky. I didn't realize that it was shaking the whole time. Luckily it's a super short clip. I hope you don't get motion sickness. Then when I was doing recording in my hand, explaining some of the things I had, I didn't realize that my camera was broken. And I knew that it was shaking when I tried to zoom in on things to take a picture, but I hadn't like recorded anything and like watched it, and I didn't know that something was wrong with my camera. And I was like, what is wrong with my camera? So I was doing once it was all done, I was doing a quick scan or span like view of the mantle. And it was just shaking like crazy. But then when I watched it back, it was also rattling. You can hear rattling. So I'm sorry about that clip where you can hear the rattling. But there's a piece in my phone. So if this ever happens to you, I have an Apple. One of the pieces, there's like balancers. And one of the balancers broke. So the other ones were overcompensating. And it was making everything shake. And you can actually hear it too. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to get my phone fixed. But here's what happened. And this is why my tree is already decorated. I didn't get that on camera at all. Once I did that very last clip, I heard this noise. And I was like, what in the world is that noise? And I heard my washing machine going, but it was like this squeaking noise. I'm like, that sounds like a mouse. And I was like, no way. And then I didn't hear anything the rest of the day. And then I'm like, I think I have a mouse. Like, I'm not joking. And then I had a friend come over and we were just going to look. We were going to look in my pantry on the floor, like move some containers to see if there was mouse poop or see if we saw a mouse. Because I'm like, I swear I have a mouse. Unless that was my washing machine. And I did another load of laundry and I didn't hear the squeaking. So it wasn't a squeaky machine. And I was kind of freaked out. And what's so crazy is it's like the exact same day a year ago I was dealing with a mouse again. And it was pouring rain outside. And I think what happened last year was somebody had left the garage door to the house cracked open because that kept happening, and it was pouring rain outside and they were probably just trying to come in. So this little mouse probably went in through the garage and came in through that crack in the door. Well, it was literally exactly a year ago to the day that I was dealing with a mouse. And so it was also rainy and stormy here, and it's getting really cold really fast. And well, when my friend was here and we were moving stuff, we heard this squeaking, and my teenage boys were home too, and they were like, oh, I heard something, I heard it. And it didn't sound like it was in the pantry. It sounded like it came from the fridge, but then we heard it again. It was really loud. And it was really loud when I heard it. And we're like, it came from under the fridge. And so my boys are so funny. Like we all knew. And then we heard it like scratching. We're like, I know there's a mouse under the fridge. So I have these pictures. They made this like barricade and we were going to pull the fridge out and like see if it would come out and try to catch it. It was this whole fiasco. But the reason why the tree is decorated is because I had all my Christmas stuff out and I was like, I have to get this floor clean. Like I have to get everything put away that I can and up and off the floor so that I can deal with this mouse issue, and I just didn't have time. And if you've ever had a mouse, it's very stressful. So we put up like a million different types of traps, and it never went in any of the traps. But I heard it again 2 days later under the fridge. I'm like, what is going on? Like, or behind the stove or somewhere. And why can't we catch it? Like, why is there nothing in these traps? And they said that once that goes in, the mouse goes in the trap, you'll hear it rattling, like, because it'll be trying to get out. And well, day 7, well, we pulled the fridge out just to see if there was any poop, just to see if anything had gotten back there. And we just kind of like vacuumed a little bit and put the fridge back. And a few minutes later, my husband's standing there and he sees a little mouse just right beside the front of the fridge. And he got him, and it's over. But it took a week, and I was shocked that we had to deal with it for a week, like with all the things that were out. And I don't know why it didn't want peanut butter in my floor. There was no crumbs on my floor for it to eat off of, so it was probably a very hungry, slow mouse. It was tiny. I think it was a baby too. So it was just this whole crazy mouse fiasco. We had a mouse again, and we think we know where it came in from. Behind the fridge, there is something that's supposed to be, there's a hose that goes into the fridge, and there's this little box, and the box frame had come out, and we saw like mouse poop there, and we think it was back behind the wall, so it probably came in through the garage somewhere. And then there's another spot beside the gas hose behind the stove that something could have come into, so we sealed those up. So hopefully this doesn't happen again next year, because 2 years in a row I was still stressed out about last year's event. And I was just telling my husband the other week, I'm like that event was very stressful for me. Like, it was very stressful. And then a few days later we had to deal with it again, so that was crazy. But my tree's done, and I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so my tree is a very natural looking tree. I love ornaments that look antique and really natural, and wood and berries. And we have presents because we had family come in out of town, which was really cool and fun for everybody. So I do my berries, and I put lights across the direction of the berries because I needed the berries to be lit up. I have a photo I can show you that shows what it looked like without the berries lit up. And this tree is pre-lit LED, and I kind of wish it wasn't LED because it's very stark for my eyes, and I feel like it kind of drowns out everything I'm trying to look at. And the berries kind of disappear into like oblivion. I'm like, I never see my berries, so I decided to light them up. This year, I decided I wanted some big ornaments. Got these big ones at Walmart, and they were cream, and the other ones were gray, and I don't love gray. So some of the bigger ornaments, I have this ball. I dried these this year and put these on. They're real oranges, and they are so pretty. They add so much color. I have a bell. I have some of these antique-y looking ones. This one, a kissing ball made of nuts. This cool antique ball looking, it's brand new, but it's just glass. It looks like metal. Oh, it's the coolest. I found that at the secondhand store, new with tags. I'm like, I have to have that. It looks really old. And this is just some of the stuff on my tree. I really love this tree. The upstairs tree is where we do all the shiny, fancy stuff, but down here, we just keep it to where it looks kind of homemade almost, because, well, I love how it looks for one, but we also have always had kids, and we didn't want ornaments that would break, so this is kind of what happened. But now my kids are getting bigger, and we've just kind of kept it. So there's my tree and the fireplace, my Santa and the elf, which are the cutest ever. I've had those for a very long time. Had him for 20 years, had him for maybe 15. My mother-in-law bought me both for Christmas, and they're my favorite thing ever. Those are our stack of Christmas coloring books, which is one of my favorite things. This is the only nativity I've ever owned, and probably the only one I'll ever care to own. I figure kids are going to play with the one you have anyway. You might as well have one they can play with. And it's still our favorite. My oldest is 18, my youngest is 6, and we still love pulling it out. Have my pine cones with my Merry Christmas sign. And then I'll try and go to the side. It's hard to get this room because it's such a big fireplace and the light gets in the way. But that is what it looks like right now. So super fun, super cozy. I just love this room in the winter at Christmas time. So sorry you didn't get to watch me decorate the tree, but you know what? It's just, it is what it is. I was chasing a mouse. See ya. I thought I'd do a quick video about my early Christmas present this year, which is this beautiful old buffet. I'm very excited about this, and I was very excited to put my Christmas ornaments on it. But this cute little reindeer I got from Walmart, it looked vintage, and so I thought it was cute. My grandma and grandpa used to have this, well, still have it probably. My grandma passed away a year ago, but every year this was one of those items that came out that everyone would get so excited about, and I found it on eBay, and you twist it and it turns and plays music. And I wasn't 100% sure it was exactly like the one they had till I sent a picture of it to my aunt. She said it's exactly the same. And so I'm just really excited to have that. Some candy and candle. These, my grandma also had this exact same set. Hers got broken and lost over the years, but I found that one on Etsy. It's really dark in here, it feels like. But it didn't have a name or anything, so it was kind of tricky to find, and kind of a miracle that I found both of these items in my tree. But this is really fun too. I was excited to be able to enjoy this for Christmas.